Uh, it is not just COVID regulation that make this unique and peculiar FIFA tournament. Euro 2020, as a FIFA still insists on calling it, has also become sucked into the culture wars. Top pop outside of a but that is national football team are symbol of the nation, but that is not a straightforward task at a time when national identity is so fiercely contested. For English For Scotland, the pressing issue is independence. For England, it is race. The English football team has decided to take the knee before matches as a protest against racism, but each time they do it, they are booed by a significant section of their own supporters. Even the government seems uncertain about how to respond. After hesitating for a while, Boris Johnson, Prime Minister, condemned the booing and urged fans to get behind the team, but two members of his cabinet, Ted Smoke and Priti Patel, defended the protest, with Lismo suggesting that the protesters are not expressing racism but condemning the Marxist of Black Lives Matter movement. But Britain some security has accused the player of indulging in gesturing politics. Players from the England team whose pre-game press conferences are normally confined to discussing tactics, injuries, and the atmosphere inside the camp, are now being asked to react home security. It would be natural to assume that cabinet ministers are better players than footballers, but the Johnson government has reason to be worried of the clashing with the England team. Last year, it went down to an ignominious defeat when it took on Marcus Rashford over the extension of free school meal for poor families. The Manchester United and England forward mobilized a million signatures behind the petition and forced the Johnson government to change tack. The 23-year-old Rashford preparation for Euro 2020 included a Zoom call with Barack Obama, while plenty of tourists are prepared to grumble about the work in Rashford. None are willing to take him in public. The culture wars of football are not just happening in Britain. When the when the multiracial Belgian team took the knee in Russia ahead of their opening game in the tournament, they were also booed by the crowd. Doubtless the Russians were also protesting against racism. Viktor Orban, Prime Minister of Hungary, one of the host nations for Euro 2020, had defended fans who were visiting teams that take their knee, saying that Hungarians see the gesture as a provocation. Orban is himself a right-wing provocateur who has become a hero to the Trumpist right in America by issuing political warnings about the alleged dangers of Europe being flooded by Muslims. But even some moderate conservatives are uncomfortable about footballers taking the knee. One prominent Tory thinker in Britain lamented to me that football has been a political space, but now the national team has become a source of division. I can see what it means. This year's tournament inevitably brings back memories of Euro 96, when England also played their games at Wembley and the whole country they seemed to get behind the team in an uncomplicated sort of way. Back then, packed the stadium all joined in the singing of the Lions football's coming on. Now the stadiums are largely empty and some of the home crowds actually bring the players. By somebody who has been to many England games over the years, I know that the idea that the team was never mixed up with politics or race is an illusion. England games have always attracted a substantial number of sorry hooligans and far-right supporters, whose trademark chant is "No surrender to RIA." At the last European Football Championship in France in 2016, the ugly tradition of English football hooliganism re-emerged, when I remarked to another fan that I hadn't particularly enjoyed being caught up in a near riot. Outside a bar in Marseille, I was told curtly, "If you don't like it, you should stay at home and watch the game on television." Football around the 1970s were also where I saw the most overt racism that I ever witnessed in Britain. It was routine to see black players bark by boos and monkey noises. The football authorities and commentators were silent about this for many years. So if the current national football feel they want to make a statement about racism, it is hard to accuse them of bringing politics into a political space. The politics, particularly the racial politics, have always been there. The identity issues are rather different for Scotland. For Trini comes as the Scottish Government is ramping up demand for a second independence referendum. This is the first major international tournament the team has qualified for since 1998, neatly fitting the narrative of national revival. Arriving in Scotland for the Scotland For the first game of the tournament, I find the local paper full of optimism. In recognition of the enormity of the occasion, the Scottish government has even allowed school stop lessons to allow the kids to watch the game against text live. As a visiting English fan, I wonder how I feel about all this. I grew up supporting Scotland in big international tournaments. I had little option since England failed to qualify for the World Cup of 1974 and 1978. But British identity was less complicated back then. The anthem player for the Scotland side that lined up to play Brazil in 1974 was God Save the Queen, although YouTube recording did not show the Scottish player looking particularly delighted. Today, the crowd and team will be belting out Love Scotland with a star word that we can still rise now and be the nation again. When Scotland qualified for the World Cup in 1973, there were more than 90,000 people inside Hampden. But today, thanks to COVID, it's a little over 9,000. Far from the joyous return to the big time that has been advertised, it feels pretty black and lonely up in the stands. Even if the Tartan army has been reduced to a little one couple battalion, they built up Love Scotland loud enough to drown out conversation. The team started with all the expected passion and streamed forward. Their captain Andy Robertson can be seen gesturing to his player to calm down, then the Czech score and the air is sucked out of the stadium. At halftime, Richard Chu spanned the toilet next to the hand dryer, the warmest spot in Hampden. There is hopeful chatter around the urinal that Scotland might still be able to turn this round. But early in the second half, football history is made by the Czechs. Patrick Schick, the team centre forward, gets the ball on the halfway line and floats over the Scots goalkeeper into the net. It is one of the most brilliant goals that any of us will ever witness. The crowd is totally silent apart from a tiny group of cheering Czechs on the other side of the stadium. On the other side of the stadium, and a group of children near me who continue happily shouting for Scotland, while the other around them was frozen in horror. After the match, Alastair reminds me that Scots fans are used to bitter disappointment. Making the national football team a symbol of the nation is a double-edged sword. We imagine them scoring wonderful goals and celebrating the fun. But what if your goalkeeper, blundering flag on his back, tangled up in the net? Euro 2020 has already delivered humbling setbacks for two football-mad public leaders. Orban gave permission for a capacity crowd to attend Hungary's opening game in Budapest against Portugal, only to see the national side lose 3-0. Recep Erdogan, president of Turkey, traveled to Azerbaijan and sat in a place of honor in the stand next to Azer president, from where he was able to see Turkey go down to a 2-0 defeat against Wales. England fans also have a habit disappointing their most ardent fans. The side often portrays as the embodiment of what we like to believe are national characteristics: courage, calmness under pressure. In fact, as a recent piece by Jonathan Liu in The Guardian pointed out, England are uniquely bad at holding a lead in a tournament. The numbers seem to suggest they might even be butlers, and their heresy, the French and Italians, are much better at holding their nerve when they take lead. If Gareth Southgate, the England manager, can somehow break this cycle and turn England into winning outfit, it will inadvertently provide a huge boost to a Johnson government that is desperate for a symbol of the success of Brexit Britain. But Southgate has subtly but unmistakably positioned himself to the left of the government, taking the knee. He leads a multiracial team and has reluctantly defended their right to make statements on subjects other than football. It has become accepted wisdom in Britain that culture wars always work better for the right than the left. But football may be an exception. All polls taken across Europe before 2020 showed 54% of England football fans supported taking the knee, with 39% opposed. If the England team keep winning, the number in favour may rise along with the team's popularity. But once the right may find itself on the wrong end of culture war for the duration of Euro 2020, I will care much less about who wins the culture war than who wins the tournament. For Scotland, Euro 2020 began with a deflating defeat. The England team disappointed their fans almost as reliably as the Scots, just slightly later in the day. On the other hand, this is a real tournament. Uh, it's taking place in the middle of pandemic. The stadiums are quarter full, and England are playing half Disney. I am allowing myself to hope for the weirdest outcome of the lot. A nuclear victory.